What is up, tribes? Hey, so pumped. We're in Hot Topics. Hey, maybe you've been coming the last couple of years. Hot Topics, one of my favorite series we do here at Tribes. And today, you're stuck with me for the question, is dating okay? The short answer is probably no, but I was going back and forth in my head. Should I actually give you helpful answers or just say, never date, you should never do that and sound like 80 years old? So the short answer is no, you probably shouldn't date. But you're like, what if I'm already dating? What if I really like this guy? Okay, so Derek's gonna be helpful today. I'll try and be as helpful as I can. But dating, it's so weird. You need to know, dating has only existed since the 60s. It really has not been a cultural thing for that long. And you're like, the 60s, Derek? Listen, I wasn't alive then either, okay? But that wasn't that long ago. But dating is such a big part of our culture, but for the whole of history, it's very, very new. And so I feel like we're still learning what it means. And the Bible didn't specifically talk about it because it didn't exist then. But the Bible does have a ton to say about marriage, romantic relationships, how you should pursue the Lord and all these things. And so I want to talk about those today, but maybe you're asking, Derek, why should I listen to you about dating? And so I'll tell you the story of where I went on my very first date. I'm sure you're very excited to hear about this. So when I was in 8th grade, I went to a movie called The Dark Knight, okay? Still my favorite movie to this day. It was before Marvel, Cinematic Universe, all that stuff, okay? I loved it. My date was there, I think. I wasn't paying too much attention to her. I was in 8th grade watching a Batman movie, okay? So I was glued. I loved it. Favorite movie ever. And then we get done, and I'm like, all right, so maybe we should go get some milkshakes or something, right? What else does an 8th grader do? So we went and got some milkshakes. And so at the end of the date, we had nothing to talk about because how does a girl talk to a boy and a boy talk to a girl at that age? I still don't know. And so I asked her, do you want to be my girlfriend? And she said miraculously, yes, I will. So then we started this, relationship. What does that mean? Nothing really. We just texted in the morning, oh, how'd you sleep? And then we texted at night, all right, good night. And that was it. For a whole week, we texted that, and I kind of just got bored of it, I guess. I don't know. And I broke up with her over text. Over text message, I said, you know what, we're done. I know, I'm the worst, okay? So this is why I'm telling you, don't date, because you'll just do dumb stuff like I did. But here's what I'll tell you. So that girl that I broke up with after the Batman date, years go by, and then we reconnect somehow on Facebook or something like that. We start talking to each other. This girl becomes my wife, the mother of my daughter. Yes, Rachel is this person that I went on a date with in 8th grade that ended horribly. And so I'm here to tell you as a person that I know how bad dating can be, but in the end, God was faithful and we got it right, okay? So that is my experience with dating. There's stuff in between there, but the Lord is good. And so we're here today. And so today, I want to talk about, is dating okay? How do you even know if it's okay? And so the question I need you to ask, you're asking me, Derek, is dating okay? The question I need you to ask, why do you want to date someone? Ask yourself that question right now. Maybe you are dating someone already, or maybe you're like, I like this guy, I got a huge crush on him. Why? Why do you want to date them? My guess is it's one of 3 options. It's that I really like them, I like how they make me feel, or maybe you just think they're cute. I think those are the 3 options, is that you like them or you like how they make you feel. That's kind of it when it comes to when you're your age wanting to date. And that's not a great option. I don't think those are great reasons to want to date. And so here's what I need you to know, is that dating is a direction. Dating is a direction we choose. And the question you have to ask, why would I date someone? The other question you need to ask is this person going the same direction as me? Because it's the question we asked last month, who are you becoming? If you're following Jesus, I think the main way the enemy wants to take you out is through some girl or some guy. And maybe it's through a screen and stuff we shouldn't be watching, but maybe it's a relationship and someone you're just drawn towards. I think the number one way, the enemy, Satan, the devil, the number one way he wants to attack your faith is by changing your direction from going towards the Lord, and all of a sudden your eyes turn to the side and your heart turns away to someone else to fill your life with the things that the Lord is wanting to fill your life with. That's just how I see it playing out time and time again. It happened in my life. I think it can happen in yours too, is Dating's a direction. And so you can head a direction following the Lord, or you can start giving your heart to someone else, to something else, and change your direction. Always it will be for the worse if you turn away from the Lord. And this verse that comes to mind for me is in Song of Songs, chapter 2, verse 7. And it says, "Promise me, O women of Jerusalem, by the gazelles and wild deer." I love the Bible. It's always talking about animals, okay? But here's the point. "Not to awaken love until the time is right." Don't awaken love until the time is right. What does that mean? Here's what I think it means. Is that dating has an end. That's my next point. Write that down. Like every one of us, we're taking notes today. Write that down. Dating has an end. When you date someone, you awaken love in your heart. You start to be drawn to this person. You feel close to them. You want to do things for them. You do anything for them. But the tough thing is, like, dating has that direction. And so every relationship, here's the truth bomb for you. Every relationship ends in marriage or a breakup. Every time you're dating someone, it's either gonna end or it's gonna last until you die and everything ends. Like, that is the end of any relationship you will ever have. And it's good to know the end because then it helps you set, okay, what are my decisions I'm gonna make now? That guy that really makes you feel good, like, man, if you start giving your heart to him, like, you're either gonna get it broken or you're gonna marry him. So, like, is he marriage material? It starts to make you ask better questions of, like, why would I date that person? If it's gonna end in a breakup someday, like, I don't think I wanna go down that road. And so marriage has an end, and that impacts how we act now. And so Jesus, he's amazing. Obviously, we love Jesus, but he's so helpful as a teacher as well. And he teaches us what this goal of marriage is all about. And so in Matthew 19, verse 4, he says, "Haven't you read the scriptures?" Jesus replied, "They record that from the beginning, God made them male and female." And he said, "This explains why a man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife, and the two are united into one. And since they're no longer two, but one, let no one split apart what God has joined together." Clearly, God's goal and what Jesus is reiterating is that the goal of a relationship is that you would leave your families and make a family of your own. And you're like, "Derek, I am 13 years old. I'm not ready for that." You know what? I think you're right. It's big decisions that we're making when we say we want to date someone. It's a direction and it has an end. And so maybe you're like, "But Derek, I like this guy. I want to date him anyways." Listen, I know some of you guys, your parents maybe say, like, you will not date until you are an adult, or they have some rule. Unfortunately for you, I probably agree with them. If they have some rule, like, I'm sticking with your parents on this one. But maybe for some of you, your parents just don't know, or they don't care, or they don't have strict rules about dating. Here's my 3 just kind of like fast facts of, like, how should you date. If you're not going to listen to any of the first things I said, maybe we're praying that you would listen to these 3 things. If you are going to date, here's the 3 things I would say. Number 1, look ahead. Just look ahead a little bit. Because it's so easy to fall in love with the idea of love, or to get this huge crush on one person and get completely blinded by what's even your goal in life. What do you want for you? What do you want for your relationship with the Lord? And my advice is to just look at one couple that you know, ideally like a marriage that you look up to. You'd be like, "I would love to be like him and have a wife like that." Or, "I would love to be like her and have a husband like him." That would be amazing if that was my future. And listen, like, we're not talking Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift. Like, they're celebrities. They're not even real people at this point. So I'm not talking about like fan stuff. No. Like, real people that you know. Who do you look up to? What relationship are you like, "I'd love it if my relationship someday was like that"? My advice, look to those people and ask them any of the questions that you have. You're like, "Hey, so I really look up to you. Should I date this person? Like, how should I maybe be spending my time as a single person now?" Those people who are living the life you wish like you could live someday, those are the people. Look ahead towards them. Maybe they can teach you a couple things that you don't make the mistakes they made. Like, those are the people. Look ahead, ask some advice. And the second one is get in community. Get in community. If you have to date someone, the best piece of advice I could give is don't do it alone. Do it in community. Like go on group dates, and where it's not even really a date, you just kind of like know them and you're hanging out with a bunch of friends as well. Number one, it's way less awkward, okay? Like you don't have to like be carrying this whole conversation like, oh, it's kind of weird, and like it's way less awkward. It's way more fun. And really it's just, I think it just works better. Get in community, because if you're hanging out alone with your girl or your guy and you're in a dark basement with a blanket over you and no one's home, how the heck are you supposed to not do something that you're going to regret? Like you were just set up for failure. And so my advice to you, pre-decide how you're going to date that person. Do it with people so you're not in temptation, so you can enjoy them, see how they relate to other people. Like see if like, oh wow, they're kind of mean to that person. Maybe I shouldn't date that. Like it gives you way better perspective, and it also, it sets you up that you could get less hurt in the long run. So number 2 is get in community. And the last one, and this is probably one I feel strongest about, all of us, every one of you guys at Tribes tonight, I think your next step is just pursue the Lord. Whether you're already dating someone, whether you never want to date someone, or whether you're like, someday that'd be cool. The number one thing you could do, just pursue the Lord. And if someone comes alongside in your life and they're chasing after the Lord as you're chasing after the Lord, then you're headed in the same direction. And that's honestly the best thing you could ever ask for. I'll end with this in Psalm 37, verse 4. It says, delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Tribes, I have a lot of regrets in my life. Maybe your tribe leaders would say the same thing too. They've got a lot of regrets. The one thing that I never regret is saying yes to Jesus, both giving my life to him and every decision I've made after that to say, God, yes, I want to live the way you want me to live. I want to date the way you want me to date. I want to surrender my life to you as best as I know how. Anytime I've said yes to him, I've never regretted it. And I think that's in this vein of when we delight ourselves in the Lord, then we have everything we need because we have him. And everything you wish you could find in a relationship, that satisfaction, the intimacy, the knowing that you're loved, cared for, cherished, and seen and known, all that is found in our relationship with the Lord. I know maybe it sounds cheesy and corny, but it's absolutely true. And anyone who knows the Lord in a real way will tell you, like, it's the best relationship I had. So right now, would you just bow your heads, close your eyes? I want to pray for you guys, Tribes. And so right now, Jesus, I just thank you that you're loving all of us as your kids. And there's a lot of ways that we don't know what we don't know. And so we're trying to figure it out on our own. And God, I just pray for tribes and tribe leaders to have a connection where tribe leaders would be able to give all the advice that they'd be able to know. God, that you maybe create some divine connections between our tribes, even tonight, that there would be a level of trust, a level of empathy, a level of honesty, that we could get real with where we're at. No one's a bad person because they're dating, and no one's a better person because they've never dated. We're all trying to figure this out, God. And so right now, we just ask, would you come teach us, Lord? God, you're the one that we need in our lives, not just our own thinking. So right now, we just ask you, Holy Spirit, would you come into our hearts? Would you teach us? Would you make us more like Jesus? Help us to focus on the direction you want us to go in our lives, and help us to just run after you, Jesus. Would you change our hearts tonight, Lord? Do a shift in our hearts. We love you, Jesus. Rest in your name. Amen.